this is why habits work and 3 ways to improve yours. So if you know anything about the 4-H method, it's my framework for meeting deep health in yourself, making your body your home, your health your hero journey. I have hope, habits, happiness, and health. And I've been talking on this podcast a little bit more on the hope side, but today I want to dive into the habit side. So I'm going to give you 3 ways that beneficial habits work, and 3 ways that you can make just really easy shifts in your mind to improve your health habits. So when I'm talking about health habits, this can be anything from movement to sleep to eating to drinking more water to meditating to doing anything that involves taking care of yourself. And I want to be clear, this is the happiness aspect of the 4-H method: hope, habits, happiness, health. If you are doing all the right things and you are still miserable, that is not health. A part of health is joy, a part of health is freedom, a part of health is peace. So I want to make that clear. This is not just about ticking the boxes and making sure that you're getting it all perfectly. This is about practices in your life that enhance your life. So for some of you, I just want to make this disclaimer really clear. Some of you, more movement might enhance your life. For some of you, less movement might enhance your life. For some of you, eating more quote unquote healthy foods and good foods might enhance your life. For some of you, eating less healthy quote unquote good foods could enhance your life. And that's why there's so much nuance in health. It's societal, that we're in context. I talk about this all the time, but that's out of the way. What about habits that actually enhance your life? Why do they work? And how can it benefit us? So I'm just going to give you 3 ways that habits work. And I hope that by listening to this, you're inspired to make positive, enriching choices for your body and for your life. Okay, so the first way is that habits provide a container for you. Habits provide a container. So it's beyond just a checklist, and it's beyond just filling your time. Think of habits as a container. And what I mean by that is you put this container in your life where you say, for example, you add movement into your life as a practice. It's a habit. You do it daily or you do it regularly. That's your container. And however regularly you decide to show up, I'll use daily for the sake of the example. When you show up daily to your movement practice, you have this container, and you can put different things inside that container. Sometimes it might be something small, sometimes it might be something big, but you've created space for this container in your life as a habit. And once you do that, it becomes easier to show up. It becomes an important part of your life. And you don't really have to worry so much about the results because you've put the container in there. So you're going to get benefits from that container, whatever you put inside it. Okay. So that's what I mean by container. Habits provide a container, and this is good for growth. So if you are going to have that container in your life and put different things in it, you'll inevitably grow in that area. We improve where we focus on and put our attention into and our energy into, inevitably. So it's good for growth. Also, this idea of a container allows for flexibility. And that is one of the biggest things for inconsistency, is a lack of flexibility. So when you are struggling, if you are struggling with being consistent in your movement practice, or you are able to relate to the experience of maybe going to the gym and then stopping, and going long periods of time without exercise, and going long periods of time with like intense exercise. And of course, we want to understand different life stages and different health factors, and not to minimize that. Sometimes consistency and doing the same thing all the time is not beneficial, which is why this idea of flexibility is so helpful. if we want to be consistent in something, we have to allow for natural ups and downs. And that's not just in response to, what we should be doing, but what is good for our bodies. So flexibility. You can put, sometimes it might be 1 minute of moving in your day. Sometimes it might be an hour of moving in your day. Sometimes it might be 1 minute of meditation. Sometimes it might be an hour of meditation. But if you've created that container, you intend to put something in it regularly, consistently, which is what a habit is, over time. You grow, you have flexibility, and it also helps you, thirdly, to become more intuitive with yourself. So a part of the practice of a life enhancing habit is not just ticking the boxes and getting it done, although there can be value in that. It's also learning to meet yourself where you are, to identify your needs, and to give yourself what you need and what you want. And that goes back to the happiness aspect, where if it's causing you misery, it's not true deep health. So you learn, and let's use food as an example. You have a container of practicing healthy choices around food. That can shift based on what your body needs for the day, what it needs for the month, what it needs for this stage in your life, etc. So habits work, number one, because they serve as a container. Number two, they work because they provide stability in your life. And this is where that consistency comes from. So thinking of habits, a helpful way to think of a habit is a container. Or sorry, not a container, an anchor. An anchor in your days, your weeks, your months, however you want to create this habit. It provides its stability and consistency in your life when you continue to show up for. And this is so helpful because, as you know, life is up and down, up and down. Sometimes we have seasons of ease and everything seems to just be working out so well. And sometimes we get fed these difficulties over. Sometimes it feels like over and over, and when it rains, it pours. Habits, helpful life enhancing habits, can provide stability through those ups and downs. And what that gives us is a sense of safety in what we are able to create in our lives and how we're able to choose in our lives. And it's not just an inner safety, which is so important. We can practice it and express it in our actions in our days. And what this does is it gives us more confidence. It gives us confidence in ourselves and our ability to create that sense of safety and stability in ourselves. I know that for me, and it can become unhealthy for some, but I know that for me, I've had a lot of change in my life ever since I was really young. And I know a lot of you can relate to this, some of you more than others. But having habits and having practices that I just do every day has created such a sense of routine and stability for those ups and downs that I've experienced in my life. And it has given me more confidence. And I see this with clients too, when they stick with a habit, even if sometimes you don't feel like it. And I'm not saying pushing through things that are painful. We don't need to do that. But there's a sense sometimes of like, is this really helpful? Should I be doing this? But when they stay consistent with their habits, even through life's ups and downs, I see that growth and confidence and that sense of safety remain in their lives. And it really helps. It's like the Bruce Lee quote that says, don't do what is it? Don't do a kick 10,000 different ways. Learn how to practice one kick 10,000 times. I'm sorry, I'm butchering that. Sorry, Bruce Lee. 10,000 kicks. It's about being consistent in your practice, not trying to do everything so well, but just being consistent in the basics. And that's something that is so important in health and fitness and in life. Okay. And then the third thing, this is the third reason habits work, is it provides a sense of presence. And this means just meeting yourself. That is so, so valuable. I know that sometimes in my life, when my mental health was poorer, when it's been poor, that sometimes my habits I'll put it this way. If I didn't have my habits, if I didn't have my practices, I know, and still in my life now, I know I would be so much worse off. I know I would just be making things so much harder for myself. And if you struggle with mental health issues like I do, if you have struggled, you know that it feels like it puts you back a little bit, and there's nothing wrong with us, but having habits aren't always the end all be all, but they can enhance. And even if you don't struggle with any mental health issues, meeting yourself is so valuable. Showing up for yourself. And this is what a big part of health is, a big part of fitness is just showing up for you, giving love to yourself. And what this does, if you do this over time and you practice these habits with this idea of presence, I'm showing up for me. This is for me. I'm doing this because I love myself. Just like you do with someone you love, whether it's a family member, a partner, a friend, you show up for them when they need you and when they don't need you. You check in, you say, how are you doing? You bring your presence, you bring your attention. And that is the same way that we love ourselves, with presence. Even if it's just a minute, like I said, it's that container. Even if it's just a minute, even if it's an hour, you show up for yourself, you give love for yourself. And what this does is it builds trust. The more that you show up over time, the more you learn to trust yourself. The more you keep your word to yourself, the more you trust your word, and the more powerful it becomes. And when your word is powerful, you create so much more, with so much more strength and oomph behind it. So habits work in a life-enhancing way because they provide a container, they provide stability, and they provide opportunity for presence, those three ways. Now, I'm going to give you 3 mindset shifts that will help you and maybe get you out of this idea that, oh, change is so hard and I can't do it, especially when it comes to habits around your health, habits around, and by the way, there's so much pressure out there to do things right, to be quote unquote good, and that is what keeps us so stuck. And so what I'm going to share with you kind of relates to that. But I just want to name that there's so much pressure, and I will say, especially for women, especially for people whose bodies don't fit this stupid idea that we have of what's attractive or what's a good body. Like, fuck that. So you don't have to be good. Don't be good. I'm not asking you to be good in your health or to perform or to get it right or to be perfect. Fuck that. What I'm talking about is making choices that are life enhancing, okay? Whatever that is for you. And that container, it changes over time. It changes in different stages. But having that container in your life around movement or around food or around mindfulness or whatever area you want to improve in can help. So 3 mindset shifts. Number 1, when it comes to habits, especially in the developing stage, if you're starting with a new habit, one of the best pieces of advice you can get, and maybe you've heard this before, you probably already know this, is done is better than perfect. Done is better than perfect. Done is better than perfect. You can work on improving your skills. You can work on getting the results that you want, but if you're not practicing, if you're not doing it, there's no way that it's going to improve. You have to do it messy in order to improve. And so many times it's like the idea of like, I don't want to go to the gym because I'm out of shape. It's kind of that mindset, and also there's valid reasons for that. I know that gym intimidation is real. Do You Even Lift Bro is an episode around the gym that you can listen to if you are thinking about going to the gym or if you want some encouragement, if you are a gym goer. Anyways, you can't improve if you're not willing to do it messy. So done is better than perfect. Done is better than perfect. Practice that. Done is better than perfect. And even if you make an effort, regardless of the result, be proud of yourself. Focus on the effort rather than the result. And I'll share that later. Okay, small is better than nothing. Small is better than nothing. Small is better than nothing. Again, we think, oh, okay, I got to go to the gym. I got to work out. I got to do a really good 30-minute session. And then I've really worked out. And something that I've helped with my clients and challenging them is, what if 1 minute was enough? What if 5 minutes were enough? What if 10 minutes were enough? Like that, whatever you need in your brain to make it feel okay to do, to make it feel like, oh yeah, I can do this. Choose that and do it. Because when it comes to habits and practicing, you have to keep that container in place and hold it sacred, that practice, that container sacred. And a part of that is allowing yourself to do small things. So you can ask yourself, would it be better if I did something small and kept that, habit going, and that this practice of showing up for myself, this anchor in my life, hold this container in my day or my week or my month or whatever it is? Or would it be better to do nothing? And you can be honest with yourself. Maybe nothing is the answer sometimes, and allow yourself to answer that way. I don't know. You have to know for yourself. But oftentimes, small, just doing something small would be better and more confidence building and more trust building with yourself than doing nothing. Small is better than nothing. Done is better than perfect. Small is better than nothing. And then practice is better than outcome. Practice is better than outcome. This goes back to what I was saying before, focusing on the effort, focusing on the practice itself rather than the outcome. And I know that it's fun to hit PRs. I know that it's fun to feel accomplished, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with this. We need this. We need this as humans. We need to feel accomplished. We need to feel like we're making progress in some ways. But when we focus so much on the outcome, we miss out on the presence of it. We miss out on the practice of it. And really a helpful way to see exercise, to see eating, to see mindfulness, to see healthy habits is like, I showed up. And sometimes it sucks, like I'm not getting the result that I want. And that's okay. I showed up. I did it. And this is not to say that you should push through pain or hurt yourself in the practice, because that's often a message in fitness that goes undetected. And I don't want to perpetuate that, because it is absolutely not necessary to hurt yourself when you are trying to enhance your life. Pain is not necessary. Restriction and deprivation is not necessary. So I want to name that, but practice and showing up, even if you're not getting the results that you want. Prize the presence and prize the practice more than the results, and the results will come. The results will come, and you can always adjust. It's like that flexibility of the container. You can always adjust. You can always assess. You can say, hey, is this working? Is this not working? Of course you can do that, but focus on the showing up first, because again, if you're not practicing and you're not showing up messy and willing to fail, or willing to, quote unquote, to fail or to not do it right, and that goes back to this idea that we need to be good in fitness and get everything right. If you're not willing to do that, there's no way that you're going to get better. There's no way that you're going to improve. But if you really want consistency, if you really want to have healthier habits in your life, adopt these mindsets. Adopt these mindsets. And I can give you so many more tools, so many more tips. And that's a part of my work. Habits are a huge part of health and fitness, and they're a part of what I teach and how I help my clients. If you'd like to do that, come to the 4-H method and join us, because I got so much more to say. This is just the crust of the huge sphere of what is habits, and I would love to support you more. And you don't need me or the 4-H method. You don't need it. But if you would like to develop healthier habits and have fun doing it and find ways in your brain and in your life to make it more enjoyable and to make it doable, come join us, reach out to me if you have any questions. Because, like I said before, my practices, my habits have been so helpful in life's changes. They've been so helpful in growth. They've been so helpful in learning to trust myself, in practicing showing up for myself and giving myself love. And I hope that they can do the same for you. Not in a tight, controlled, scary, I'm gonna mess up if I don't do it right, but again, in a life enhancing, actually deeply healthy way. Let me know what you think. Share this with someone who might be wanting to create new habits or struggling with a habit. Listen to it again if it's helpful for you. I can't wait to talk with you next time.